Hey, hi guys, welcome to today's video. So today we are going to start a new series on basically the interview coding questions that is generally asked in any iOS interview. So if you have not subscribed our channel, please do subscribe it. Now let's see the problem statement. This problem statement is very simple that you will be given an input array and you will be asked to find the pairs which sum is equals to a definite target number. Okay, and let's start this input with a very simple, not making it too complicated for you. So let's, and you will be asked to find all the pair whose sum is equals to 10. Now here it's very simple. I can just see that one is 2 and 8 and one is 1 and 9. Now how to figure out? So let's see. I'll just try to solve this problem with multiple approaches and show you that how you will end up with having the best solutions possible. So first thing I'm doing it in a very normal way and see if I can achieve my desired output or not. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take a for loop, something like this, and I'm going to take another for loop which will give me the second item. And what should be my logic? Basically that if the index 1 and index 2 are not same, that means that I'm not checking the same element two times. And if the item 1 and item 2 sum is equals to the target, then just print it. So what I'm going to do that if index 1 not equals to index 2 and item 1 plus item 2 is equals to target, then simply do a print statement. And what to print? We have to print item 1 and item 2. That I'll just run two for loop, and what we are doing, we're running a time complexity of n square, and let's run and see whether it gives me the desired output or not. And what you see, the output is coming. Let's just format it little in a better way so that looks good. Okay, so what is the output? I'm getting 2 8, which is right. I'm getting 1 9, which is right, but I'm also getting 8 2 and 9 1. And what is happening that it is just like that the same pair is appearing to me again. And this is where even after taking two for loop, I am not able to achieve my answer where it should give me the correct pair. It's the correct pair, but it's the repetitive pair. Now, to solve this problem further with this approach, we have to do further manipulations. Maybe I need to check further one more inside my right now I'm not taking any variable for my output, but let's say that I have to take something for my output, again check further whether it contains or not. But what I will be ending up, I'll be ending up even adding an q time complexity, which I am just running two for loop. And if let's say that for example if you want to do a further check here, it will further increase your time complexity. Now let's take another approach of solving this problem where I will not be taking two for loop, and let's say that how I'm getting the result in that scenario. Now here what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take a dictionary. So dict, and this will be int colon int. Okay, just going to copy this same syntax here, and now I will again iterate. So for item in my input, let's call, and then what we have to check that if let my dictionary, and then before that what we have to do, we have to calculate the difference. So let difference equals to sum minus item. So if this contain my difference, then what we have to do, we have to simply print it. So let's copy this and print it here. In the any scenario, what we have to do, we have to add that element to my dictionary. So dict and then item equals to item. Okay. So what basically it helps you that, see, we are running in our let me just correct it first. So this will be item and then this will be difference. So we are running in our for loop, and every time we are just adding the same item, whatever the item that we are getting from this array, we are adding this to our dictionary with the same key. And then we are checking that if the difference exists in my dictionary, that means that that item is there in the array, because if some item is there in the dictionary, that means it is there in your array also. Then that means we have found the pair, and then we are just printing it. Okay. So let's print it. So I'll call this as input array and sum as target. Now let's run this function and see what output we are getting. So in this case, if you see in the first problem case, we were getting even the same repetitive element, but this solved that problem. Now let me change my input to the original case one, where I have some bigger input, and in this case let's run the same thing again. Now if you see, this is anyway, this approach is not at all correct. I'll not see this, but now if you see in this case, 6464 is coming 2 times, even 3 times, because I have multiple 6, right? 6, then 4, then 6, then 4, 6, then 4. Then same case goes with 9 1 1 9 8 2 9 1. Now this is giving me in a better, like I can say it's order of n time complexity. Even for a normal input it was working fine, but when we have the duplicate pairs, in that case this approach is again not that much smart enough to handle the duplicate case. No, again I can handle it. I can just write another, no, scenario where I can just put a condition check on my, no, like I have to take some variable and check whether the item already exists or not, and then according to that I will decide whether I have to add it or not. But again that will increase further complexity, because when you are already running a for loop, and inside that if you put a further for loop, it's not going to solve your problem in a less time complexity. Okay. So let's now see the third approach, and that you have any input. For example, you have input, in this case is 2 3, let me write it again. So you have 2 3 4 3 4 1 6 6 6 7 5 9 1 8 9. Now the first thing what you should do is that you should sort this array. Now why you should sort this array? See, right now you don't know that which element is where. Let's say that if you see in this particular syntax, uh, I can see that after 2 we have 3, and again then after 4 we also have 3. After 4 I have 1, and then again after 9 also I have 1. Now sorting will give me one advantage, that all the elements which are similar will be just after each other. So let's say that if I have sorted something like that, then I will have 1 comma 1. Any one more one we have two ones, then we have 2. Any more 2? No. Then we have 3 3, then 4 4, then 5 6 6 6, and then 7 8 9 9. Okay. Okay. Now I have the same array but in the sorted manner. Now what I have to do, instead of, like taking a for loop and then, no, playing with the input, let's think little differently. Let's say that if I have 2 pointers, let's say one here and then one on the last here. Now basically what I have to do, I have to check whether the sum of this pointer, let's say call this pointer as left and call this pointer as right. So if left plus right, what should be my logic? That if left plus right is equals to sum, that means that I have a valid pair, right? Any doubt in this case? But in this case, if you see, if I have first pair, which I see here, the first element here is my 1, and then the last element what you see here is 9, and that's a valid because my target was something 10, if you remember. But if you see, after 1 and 9, my next pair is again 1 and then again 9. That means that it will again give you a duplicate pair, right? And that's what we have to avoid. So what will be my logic? That I'll first sort the array, then I'll take a left which will start from 0 and then right which will start from my array count. Okay, now what I will do, I'll check. Now if you sum this two element, what can be the possible outcomes? Now there can be three possible outcomes, right? There can be three total possible outcomes. What? The first one is that it is equals to target, that is the first case. Then either it is greater than target or it is less than target. There can be only three possibility when you sum this two numbers. Now let's do a first iteration. So I have the first number as 1 and then in the right I have the number as 9. Now when I do the sum, what I will do after that, if I found a number, so my logic will be simple, very simple. If it is equals to the target, then I have to move one step further from here, and then from right I have to move one step backward. That means my left counter, which was 0, then it will increase to 1, and then my right counter, it will decrease by 1. Okay, now what if the next scenario, that means that my sum is greater than target. That means that I got something, let's say that you after addition you got some number as 15. Now when you get a number which is greater than target, in that case no need of no again iterating, or I can say that no need of increasing your left counter. You just decrease your right counter, because I am sure that I'm not going to have any pair of that number with my existing number. So if your sum, that means the sum of your left index number and the right index number is greater than the target, then just decrease the right counter. Okay, and then what is the third scenario that we have? So in the third scenario we have that the number is lesser than, that means that my sum is lesser than the target. In that case I don't need to change my right counter. In that case I'll just increase my left counter. Okay, so if I summarize my logic, so if sum equals to target, I found a pair. In this case I will increase my left counter and I will also increase my right counter. In the else if scenario where I have sum greater than target, in this case what I have to do, I have to do right equals to right minus 1. And in the else scenario, which is like that your sum is less than target, in that case you have to increase your left counter. That means left equals to left plus 1. Okay, that's the simple logic. And if you see that I'm just using one loop. Okay, now in all these scenarios I have not solved the problem, and that the problem is having a duplicate pair. Let's say for example you started with this 1 and 9, and this comes in this condition, right? If sum is equals to target, 1 plus 9 equals to 10, what we are doing, we are increasing the left and we are increasing the right also. So in that next number what we have, the next digit is 1 here and that digit is 9 here. That means that again I'm going to get the same pair, right? So this is not what I wanted. So to avoid that, what I will do, I'll put one extra check, and that check is very simple. So we have to, as we have sorted our no input, so we are always sure that these numbers will be in the like consecutive, like 1 1, and then similarly here the 6, and the same goes with 9. So now let's say that I got my first pair. Okay, now next time when my loops run, the first thing what I will check that whether my left element is equals to the previous element, because you already have the left counter, right? So next time when you iterate here, you will check that if these two elements are same, then you don't need to again further do anything here. You just need to increase your left counter. That's a simple thing, because if let's say that I have already taken this pair, then and you 1 plus 9 have already become, let's say, 10. Okay, now in this scenario you have the last two number as 9 comma 9, and this is all again sorted order. There cannot be any number here in this particular position which sum can be equals, which plus this one can become 10. So I can easily skip this number in that particular case. But we always have to make sure that I don't skip the first number. So after only when the first number has gone, I have to first check that it should not be the same as my previous number, because in that case there is a possibility that I'm going to get the same input. Okay, now let's do the same thing in the code level. The first thing what you have to do, you have to define your array. So I'll just call it as where sorted array, and this will be input dot sorted. Okay, and then you have to define two counters. First is left, which is equals to 0, as we saw. The second is right, which is equals to your array dot count minus 1. Okay, now we have both the pointers ready for us. Now the logic should be that while left is less than right, because once both the counter crosses each other, you don't need to further check, because in that case what will happen, you will get the pair in the reverse order, right? So if it is less than that, then the first condition what we have to check, that if the left is not equal to 0, that means it is not the first element, and my sorted array of left is equals to sorted array of left minus 1. And why this check? If you remember that I was telling that we don't need to calculate the same pair. I wanted the unique pair. So if the previous number and the next number are same, I'm just keeping that particular number from that side. Okay, so in this case I have to simply do left equals to left plus 1. I don't need to do anything in this case, no logic at all. Continue, that means my loop will go again. Now if it doesn't fall in this case, that means now what we have to do, we have to calculate the sum, right? So let's call it as, now I already have this as sum variable, so I'll just call it as something like let s equals to sorted array of left plus sorted array of right. Now I have the sum. Now, as we discussed, we have three scenario, either equals to or less than or greater than. So if s is equals to sum, that means we hit our pair. I'll just copy this print statement, and in this case we have to print. And what you have to print in this case, we have to print this particular scenario, sorted array left and then sorted array of right. Okay, and in this case what I told, we have to increase the left counter, that means left will go left plus 1, and then right will decrease by 1. So right equals to right minus 1. That's the first case. The second case can be that else if s can be greater than sum. And in this case, as I told, you have to just decrease your right counter. So right minus 1, or in the else case, that is your sum, your current sum is less than the target, right? That means in this case, you have to do left equals to left minus 1. Okay, and that's all. So simple, right? Now let's call this method. Now let's run and see the output. Now if you see in this case, I'm just getting the unique pair 192837 4 and 6. So that's all for today's video. And if you have not subscribed the channel and if you like this video, please do subscribe it. Thank you. Thanks for watching.